Okay, can everyone see the Z Suite screen now? So when you come into Z Suite, it's just 4h.zsuite.org. It'll come up like this, and you can click sign up if you don't have an account yet, and an adult has to sign up initially. And after an adult creates a family account, then you can go in and add youth accounts. So you'll want to select Wyoming, and then whichever county you're from. I am from Park County, so I'm going to select Park. And then you would go in and put in your name and your email address and create a password. And then you'll also create a PIN. And this PIN helps keep so that your whole family can have one account, but each um, family member can't get access to everybody else's information. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I have a personal account I created so that it looks like your guys' accounts will. And I created a fake club member as well to help show that. So first, I'm going to go into what it would look like as an adult account. And if you guys have any questions along the way, go ahead and either put them in the chat box or feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. So when I go to click on the adult in the account or the primary adult, it will ask for a PIN. So I'm going to enter my PIN and hit submit, and then it'll take me to the dashboard. Oh, and I didn't leave off on the dashboard. So here it has household members, the county information, as well as any announcements and files. So we have our March and February newsletter here for Park County members, and I need to upload the April and May newsletter. I forgot to upload that. Um, if you're in a club, it will have your club here and your status if you're in that. And then if you're a club leader, you can request club leader access here. You can also add to-do lists here for things that you need to do. And here soon we're going to have events that will show up down here. Those aren't live just yet. So then I can also go over here in this left-hand column. This is going to be our main menu bar. And click on household members, and this is where I add members. So if we want to add another member, we're going to do, I did a Jane Doe last time, so I'm going to do a John Doe this time. Oops. And we're going to select a club member because we want it to be a youth. And we're going to do today's date for the birthday, but we're going to change it to 2005, and that would make them 15. And then you can choose to add a club from whichever county you're in. I'm not going to add a club at this time. And then you can also choose your own avatar. So let's do, um, we'll just do the rabbit. And you want to make sure to click save when you're done. Are there any questions so far? All right. So if you already have a ZingBooks account, which I don't know, we haven't used them in Park County. I'm not sure if you guys have used them in Sweetwater County at all. If you have, you can import your ZingBook here. If you haven't, just ignore that. Now that we have a new household member, we can add, we'll have to add record books for them. But before I do that, right now, John doesn't have any record books, but Jane does. So you can view a report of each household member's record books, and then you can download it straight from the household page. We're going to go back to the dashboard, and we're going to come up here to switch profile. And this is where we're going to go into John, and we're going to create a record book for John. So each household member of the club members or youth members have a dashboard that looks a little bit different. Here it has the announcements, the shared files, and the to-do list. On this left-hand column over here is still where you'll find your record books, and you can add the record books here. Um, you'll have to add each section differently. So for each project, um, somebody say a project that they'd like to do, and we'll do a record book for that project area. Sheep. Okay, so we're going to do a sheep record book. And the primary category for this is going to be animal science. So um, our record books are going to have different sections that they fall under. If it's a project and you're not sure which project it falls under, you can ask me. You can just send me an email or give me a call and I'll let you know what it falls under. Or we do have it broken down on our website as well. And then there's also this My 4-H year. And this My 4-H year is where you put everything that's not project specific. So you'll have to do a My 4-H year record book and then a record book for each project. But it sounds like a lot more than it is. Each project record book is exactly the same as the section 1 in our old record books. So it's not really a complete record book, it just sounds like it the way that it's labeled in here. So John was 15, so he'll do a senior record book. If you're 8 to 10 years old, you'll do junior, and 11 to 14 or 11 to 13 will do intermediate. So we're going to go ahead and hit save here. Oh, we're required to do a club. I'm going to have to go back. Okay, we're going to go into household members and we're going to edit John and we're going to add a club. And I'm just going to do clover buds right now, even though he's not a clover bud, so that it's easy to track. So now I'm going to go back into John's profile and into record books, and we're going to start over. So we want to do sheep, club is clover buds, animal science, subcategory is sheep. This is another way you can figure out which category it goes in. If you're not sure, you can click on one of these, and then all of the projects that fit into the primary category will fall over here. And then a senior record book and save. So now this is tricky. I always want to come over here and hit the edit button to edit, but all that does is take me back to how we create it. So we want to go back, and this orange highlight right here is where we click to work on that record book. And then it pops down a drop-down menu over here, and this is where we'll click on project information, and it will bring up all of our project sheets. And I'm not going to talk too much about how to do the project sheets just yet. We'll go through those in a PowerPoint here in just a little while. I just want to show you some of the things that are in the Z Suite. So here, our project sheets include goals, supplies, expenses, income, summary, and pictures. So there's 5 sections inside your project that you will do for each project you want to turn in a record book for. And once you have all of those 5 done, you can come down here and you can download your record book or you can submit it online. If you want to do a blank copy to fill out throughout the year and then enter it online later, or just turn in the blank copy depending on how your county is doing it, you can come in here and download a blank copy and print it out and fill it out by hand. So if we don't want to do a project section, say we want to go in and add our leadership information, we'll have to come in here and create a new record book. And here we're going to go to primary category, my 4-H year, and we're going to do 2020 for the name because it's the 2020 4-H year. And 4-H involvement is the only category under here. So in our record books before, we had 8 sections. This 4-H year encompasses sections 2 through 8. So we still want to have a section 1 or a project record book for each project, and then sections 2 through 8 are sections that you will add to each year. And it is all included under this My 4-H year. So we'll hit save, and then to edit this, we'll come over here on the orange side and click on it, and it brings down the involvement report right over here in the left-hand side. And we can click on that to add all of the different pieces. And here we have 4-H awards and recognition, leadership, community service, participation, story, pictures and clippings, and then we have other participation, which is everything except for 4-H. If there is one of these sections that you have a question about as you're filling out your record book, you can click on the question mark and it will give you a description of that section. There's also a green button with a plus sign anywhere that you can add information. And so you just click that and then type in the box what information you want to add, and then there's also a spot for a date and the type of participation for this specific one. So each section will have green boxes that you can click on, and then it'll have spots for you to add the information in that way. And then again, you can come over here and print or submit your final involvement report after you've filled that out. Or if you'd like to do a blank one, there is that option for the involvement report as well. And it looks very similar to our old record book system. Do you guys have any questions so far? All right, I'm going to switch screens again, and we're going to go back to a PowerPoint and talk about what to put in which boxes in our record book. Okay, so why do you guys think it's a good idea to use a record book? You can type your answers in the chat box or unmute yourselves and speak. Okay, you good. Yeah, Truett's had some good experience with this. You can win money. Here in Park County, we give cash awards for our record books, and so that's a great incentive. Why else do you think it's a good idea to do your record book? To share your experiences, and it will definitely help you apply with, or help you when applying for scholarships. Good. So it helps us learn responsible record keeping, and it can help us see how far or how much we've grown throughout the 4-H year or from year to year. And it also gives you a place to start because it helps you set goals for your projects. And you can compare from the beginning to the end. And then it gives you an accurate record of what you've learned. It definitely helps you learn new things. You can learn all about how to keep good records as well as look back on what you've done and see how much you've learned throughout the year. And it can help you fill out resumes and job applications, and then it's just kind of fun to see what you've done over the years, especially once you've been in 4-H for several years, to look back at where you started to where you were when you graduated from 4-H. Okay, so there's two categories that we're going to fill out. And we kind of talked about this a little bit. So there's the project record books, and this is what you're going to complete for each section. And then there's also the involvement. And some of these are ongoing. The 4-H awards and recognition, leadership, community service, and participation are sections that you'll just add to each year. You won't create a new story or a new section on those. The 4-H story, pictures, and clippings are things that you will fill out a new one each year. So you're going to write a new 4-H story each year about what you did that year in 4-H. When we're looking at the project sheets, there's a section for goals. And when you're writing your goals, you want to make sure that they are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And if you notice, the start of each of these words spell SMART. So we want to set SMART goals. So what exactly are we going to do? How are we going to achieve it? And how do you know that you've achieved it? Do you have control over the outcome? Is it reasonable for you to accomplish? And do you have a timeline for when you want to complete the goal? We're going to do a couple examples. So I want to win showmanship versus I want to learn the cuts of my animals so I can better answer questions during the showmanship competition. Which of these is a SMART goal? Good. The second one is a SMART goal. It's something that I can measure, it's attainable, it has a timeline, and it's something that I can control the outcome. I want to win showmanship. You can't really control the outcome of that. You can only control your efforts. So even if you do your absolute best, the judge may have a different opinion that day of who was better. And so you can't control that outcome, but you can definitely control how much you've learned and how much effort you've put in. The same goes for I want to go to state fair versus I want to learn many stitching techniques to be able to sew an apron for the fabric and fashion contest to earn a ribbon to qualify for state fair. So it's a good place to come in and find something that is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and has a timeline. So I'm going to go back a couple slides and we're going to go over that one more time. So SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound or have a timeline. Okay, so the next section in your project sheet is going to have you think about your plan to accomplish your goals. So how are you going to attain the goals that you've set? You want to complete this at the beginning of the year so that you can have a good idea of where you need to go and what you need to do for that year. If you set SMART goals before you started your project, this is a lot easier than if you are looking back trying to figure out what your goal was and how you could have attained that goal. When you're making your plan, think about how it will help you accomplish your goals, who's going to be able to help you, and this says juniors only, but really our intermediates and seniors also need help. And so it's always good to find a mentor or a club leader or somebody else in your club that's older that can help you through your projects. And your mentors could be somebody at home, somebody from school, somebody from church, somebody from another club in the community. It doesn't have to be somebody in 4-H, but somebody who is knowledgeable about the project you want help with. And then you'll also want to think about what materials, equipment, supplies, um, and how much time you might need to complete your goals. The next part is your supplies. Um, so this can include items that you have on hand, such as equipment, feed, or other materials, where things came from, and how much it is worth. If you don't have any supplies or you didn't buy any supplies at this point in time, that's okay. Just put NA here, and it's best not to leave sections of your record book blank. The next piece is the expenses. What were your expenses? Um, what things did you have to buy? And that can include livestock, or say you bought a new bow, or you bought frosting or supplies to make frosting. It can be a whole bunch of different things, anything you need to do your project. Um, and then it can also include if you sign up for a contest and it has fees, or you enroll in a project, you can include those enrollment fees. So if you're a part of the Sure Shots 4-H Club, you can add that you paid your Sure Shots 4-H Club enrollment fees. Um, and then there's also a section to add if somebody has given you something, say you get a new bow for Christmas, you can put that in here at a value of what it was for, but then you can put that it was a gift. So we'll go back through and look at some of the options here, but it has a drop-down menu for how you obtained it, whether you bought it, borrowed it, it was donated, or if it was a gift. There's also an income section, and this is where you put what your income was. Did you have things that, or money at the beginning? How much did you start with, if so? And then if you sold something along the way, you'll put that in here as well. You'll also have the option to put in whether you decided to donate something to somebody else, and you can put a value on it, and then put donated. And so it won't count as income, but it will take that item out of your supplies category. It also has a section for project summary, and this is where you want to look back on your project goals for the year. When you're filling this section out, you want to be sure to use full sentences and think about if you were able to achieve your goals, what skills you learned throughout the year and who may have helped you learn those skills, where you got information needed. If you went to camps or clinics, you can keep track of some of that information here. Something new that you learned is a good thing to add here. How you can use what you've learned either next year or somewhere else in your life, and then how your project did at a competition if you competed with it. And that's where you would put what ribbons or awards you got on a specific project. Whoops. There's also, and I forgot to add this slide, so in our project categories, there's now a pictures option for here. Before, in our old record books, you could just do pictures and clippings at the end, and I think it was section 7. Now you have 2 places to do project or pictures. So it's a good idea to take pictures of your specific project and add them in here, in the pictures section. And then in the picture section at the end is where you'll want to add pictures of things throughout the year that are maybe not quite so project specific. Next, we're going to start into the My 4-H involvement or My 4-H year section. And this is where sections 2 through 8 from our old record book will be. Before I do that, are there any questions? All right. So the first section in here is 4-H awards and recognition. And this is an ongoing section that you can add to each year. There's a spot for you to add if you got gold, silver, or green on your portfolio or your record book from the previous year, as well as some other big accomplishments in your 4-H career. Um, and your annual achievement points are based on your portfolio scores, and those can be used to earn a place in the Wyoming Honors Club. Um, so here it has some examples of silver. This person earned a silver, then a green, then a green. And it tells you how much each of those sections are worth. So green is worth 0, silver is worth 1, and gold is worth 3. And once you get 19 points, you can earn a spot in the Wyoming Honors Club, and you can also win a scholarship from the 4-H Foundation to go on a national 4-H trip or an international 4-H trip. You can also add other types of awards that you may have earned in 4-H. These don't have specific awards. It's just an example one. But if you win an award, say at Achievement Night, this is a good place to put that in. An important thing to note is things that you win at fair, unless it's an overall or a really big award, those go in your project section. This is for your 4-H involvement specifically, not a project-specific award. So this would be like a leadership award or a, say you had the top portfolio the year before, you can put that award in here. The leadership section is also ongoing and you can add to it each year. It includes any 4-H leadership role that you have held. If you helped mentor another 4-H member, you include that here. If you have a club office, you can put that here. If you volunteer to help with fairground cleanup or with highway cleanup or any other community service project that your club does, you can put that in here. If you do a demonstration at your club, you can put that in here. There are a lot of different things that you can add as leadership. And when you're in here filling it out, it has a drop-down menu that you can put elected or volunteered. And it seems like we'll have to go and look. I can't remember, but I think there was a third. Oh, there is. It's appointed, volunteered, appointed, or elected. So a lot of things you might just volunteer to do. Some things you may be elected for. Community service is another section, and so some of the things that you put in leadership may also fit in community service, and that's okay. You can put them in both spots. When you fill out the community service section, you want to put a description of what you did with the date, and this can be anything that you helped with that served another person. And it can also be if you're volunteering to help with something or if you're helping other members. And then participation in 4-H or 4-H participation is anything else and this needs updated. This box here is for a later. This is for section 8. But any of these things here count, and there is a list, I believe, that you can add to, but like county fair, achievement night, presentation contest, 4-H camp, showcase showdown, state shoot, county shoot, state fair, anything like that can go in this section. There's a spot for county opportunities and a place for national opportunities and international opportunities. And then you'll also have a 4-H story, and this has a few questions that will help guide you in writing your story, but you'll want to make sure to introduce yourself, highlight all of your 4-H projects and activities, not just the fair, and explain how 4-H helped you become a better leader and citizen. And if there's anything specific in your 4-H year that stands out, this is a great place to put it. Your story can include things about one of your projects or all of your projects. Um, it's really yours to tell. So whatever really impacted you that year would be a good thing to highlight in your 4-H story. It's also a good idea to put how your 4-H involvement or what the things that you did in 4-H that year made you feel. If you really got a lot of learning and satisfaction out of a particular project or a particular workshop, include that in your story. And then you want to say what you learned that year or how um, your 4-H year has impacted you for upcoming 4-H years. And if you're getting close to the end of your 4-H career, you may want to put some of your career options or goals here as well. Things that may tie back to 4-H. Say you've been showing poultry for years and you've learned that you really want to study poultry in college and maybe have a poultry farm someday. You could put that in your 4-H story. There's another section for photos and clippings at the end, and this is where you want to put stuff that is 4-H oriented, not necessarily project oriented. But in both the project 4-H photos and clippings and the my 4-H year involvement photos and clippings, you want to make sure to include some action shots of you doing things and make sure to tell us what's happening in the pictures or a small sentence about the picture. If it's you with your pig, put your pig's name, the date, and probably your name so that we know what the picture is telling us. If you know you have a picture in the newspaper, it's also a good idea to put that picture in your photos and news clippings. You don't want to use only pictures from fair, so it's good to take pictures throughout the 4-H year. Only use posed photos. You can use some posed photos, but be sure to do some candid photos too of you doing things. And then treat it like a scrapbook. It's not a scrapbook, it's just a place for you to put some photos and tell us about each photo. Okay, so this is the section where anything other than 4-H fits. So in the slide a few slides back where it talked about like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, those types of things would go here. Or I think it had marching band on that slide. Anything that is not 4-H goes on this slide or goes on this section. And it can be leadership, community service, or awards. But if it is not something 4-H related, go ahead and put it in here. It can be school, church, other extracurricular activities, sports. The sky's the limit here. Anything that is not part of 4-H. And here are a few examples. There's a dance, anything that you can think of. Are there any questions so far? All right. So in Park County, I'm not sure about in Sweetwater County, but in Park County, portfolios or record books are due September 15th, and then judging is completed in October. And all over the state of Wyoming, this is how we earn points to be inducted into the Wyoming 4-H honors system that we talked about a little bit earlier. Some helpful hints: start early. So if you haven't already started your record book, it's a good idea to start now because it's a lot easier to fill it out little by little than to fill it out all at the end. You also want to update it throughout the summer and throughout the year as you're doing things, so that you don't have to try and remember everything all at the end. You want to use your story to tell about your overall 4-H experience. And then the most important thing to remember is it's your record book. So it is there for you to document anything you don't want to forget or you might think you need to know later. Okay, if you would like a recording to this, go ahead and drop your email here. We're not quite done yet. I'm going to go back to the ZSUITE website and we can click through some of those boxes a little bit more. But if you would like a recording to this, you can definitely leave your email now and I will be sure to get you a link to the recording after it's done downloading. Okay, so we're going to go back to record books and we're going to go into the project section. Okay, so here there's a spot for goals and you want to include more than one goal. It's just one box, but it's good to have 3 is a good number. So you want to put all of your goals in this one box and then same with your plan. It will all fit in this one box. And then when you go to supplies and add here, you can put anything that you have on hand, where you got it from, and how much it's worth. We talked about a lot of this, but there's a few boxes I wanted to show you here in a couple spots. So again, you can put a description and a value, but this one under supplies has a place where you can list whether it was a supply, equipment, animal feed, or miscellaneous. And the same thing in the income section. You can put whether you sold it, you donated it, or if you kept it. And I had mentioned where you could put gifts in here. You can also put in the expenses, you can put things that you were given in here and then put an estimated cost or value. So those 2 things are new from previous record books. They have some extra drop-down menus. And then the summary does just have 2 boxes, but you can put your entire summary in each of those boxes. And then for each award that you want to put in, you'll do those individually down here by just clicking this add button, and you can keep adding as many as you need. And then for pictures and clippings, you can add a photo and then caption it right here, and it'll bring it into this box here. We're going to go back to Record Book Home and look at a couple boxes in the involvement report, and then if there's any questions, we'll answer those and wrap up for the year. So here is where you want to put your achievement. So if I did record books in 2019 and I earned silver, I can add that in here. So it does have a drop box for you to choose the 3 colors. And you can add all of your years at once. And then down here, you'll enter your award and or the date and then a description of your award. Leadership, it has a drop-down menu to put whether you are appointed, elected, or volunteered, and then the role, and you can put the date that you were elected or you volunteered to do that role. Same with community service, you can put a date and then a description of what you did. And in 4-H participation, in the first section for club opportunities, you just put the date and what you did. In the section for county opportunities, the same thing, the date and what you did. And then for the state and national opportunities, it has a drop-down menu for you to add things that you have participated in. And then the My 4-H story is just one box. So you can type this box and then or you can type in this box, or you can type it in another document form and then copy and paste it into this box if you want. Um, so that is going to depend on your how you do your 4-H system. Um, there is the option for from the back end from the 4-H educator. I can scan in your old record books and then upload them into yours, and so that's what we'll do in Park County. But you'll want to ask Marty how she would like you to do that. If she wants you to start just from this year, or if she wants you to add to your previous years. It also depends on how your record books are judged. Here in Park County, they're judged just on the year, except for the sections that you add to. And so in that case, you wouldn't want to do project, like your project sections, you wouldn't want to do from previous years. You would just do this year. But in the 4-H awards and recognition, you can definitely go ahead and put in all the past years. So in this section for the pictures and clippings, you can attach up to 9 pictures, and then you caption them just like in the project section. You'll select an image and then put a caption, and it will put it all in one page for you. And then other participation is has a date, a description, and then a drop-down menu to say whether it was an award, community service, leadership, or organization. We went through this last section kind of fast, so if you do have questions, I'm happy to go back over some of those things, or if you want to go back to the PowerPoint with questions, we can do that. If not, you're free to go. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Okay, I see both of your emails in here. So it'll probably take about an hour and a half or so for this to download all the way. So I'll put the link to the recording